think of how much slang you use in your daily conversations. A lot, right? If someone had only a basic understanding of textbook English vocabulary words, they might miss out on a lot of nuance and find it harder to connect on a deeper level. It's the same way with slang from Spanish-speaking countries. If you want to have an easier time making friends and jumping into conversations, knowing a bit of the local lingo can go a long way. In this lesson, we're focusing on Mexico. You'll learn 10 common Mexican slang words and phrases, and once you get comfortable with these common phrases, you'll fit right into friendly banter. Let's get to it! Slang can definitely make your Spanish vocabulary sound more natural and colorful. But it's best to have a solid foundation in the basics of the language before diving into more nuanced words. Our video on the most common Spanish phrases for traveling is the perfect place to start. Now, get ready to learn some slang that will surely impress the people you meet in Mexico. Just be warned, some of these words might be a little PG-13. Let's start with a word that's at the forefront of Mexican slang, güey. Güey is kind of like dude in English. It's used to refer to friends and acquaintances. However, it can sometimes pop up in more unpleasant situations too, as a way to sarcastically address a stranger. The spelling for this one can be a little tricky, so just a quick tip. To remember the correct pronunciation of güey, just remember that it sounds like the English word way. So, how would you use this word in a sentence? You might hear something like, Oye, güey, ¿salimos hoy o qué? Which means, hey dude, wanna go out today? Güey is definitely a word you'll hear on the streets. But next, let's look at a word that you might have already heard in movies or TV shows. Neta. It's basically a synonym for truth. You may have already learned that la verdad means truth in Spanish, but in informal contexts, Mexicans will use la neta instead. Neta can be used in a lot of different contexts, but you will probably see it used most often at the start of a sentence or after a verb. At the start of a sentence, it would sound like, ¿Neta? No puedo creer que te haya dicho eso. This is a way of saying, are you serious? I can't believe that she told you that. Using the word after a verb, on the other hand, would go along the lines of, si te digo la neta, no te enojas, meaning, if I tell you the truth, you won't be mad? Of course, if you want to learn how to speak Spanish, make sure to check out baselang.com, where you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with native-speaking teachers, all via Zoom. Moving on to slang term numero tres, we've actually got a phrase that's made up of two words, no manches. Now with no manches, there's a lot of English equivalents. Holy cow, hell, no way, are you kidding? Those are just a few to fit the bill. This phrase is used when a friend tells you something that you're surprised to hear. For example, no manches, que bien hablas español, which means, holy cow, you speak Spanish very well. Now, quick tip. You might overhear no mames being used interchangeably with no manches. Keep in mind that this version of the exclamation is even more informal and often considered a dirty word. So when speaking in more formal situations, always exercise caution and use no manches just to be safe. Next up, we've got órale. This is a word of many purposes. It can express amazement, approval, enthusiasm, and so much more. For instance, órale, ¿y tú desde cuándo trabajas tanto? Which would be a way of asking, wow, since when do you work so much? If you'd like a bit more órale in your Spanish learning journey, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more practical Spanish lessons just like this one. Keeping things rolling with numero 5 on our list, let's take a look at the slang word aguas. Now, anyone who's taken Spanish 101 knows that agua translates to water, but this expression actually has nothing to do with water at all. Instead, aguas in Mexican slang is used to advise someone to be careful or to watch out. It's kind of like how you might say heads up to warn a friend to pay attention. Aguas, te vas a caer, which means watch out, you're going to fall. All these slang terms so far have been pretty tame, but our next word is where things get a little spicy. Pinche. It's typically an adjective used to describe something as ugly or of poor quality, but it can also be a curse word to enhance an insult. An angry driver might let out some road rage by yelling, pinche coche, damn car. Needless to say, this is definitely a word you should keep out of any and all formal conversations. Around friends, harmless fun. Around colleagues, not so much. Now that we learned an insult, how about a slang term that's a little bit more positive? Mexicans love to use the word chido as an adjective to describe something or something good, nice, cool, or even beautiful. So if you've just been acquainted with some new pals, you might say, tus amigos son chidos. Gracias por presentármelos. This means your friends are nice. Thanks for introducing them to me. All the Mexican slang we've covered so far can be used in a wide variety of circumstances. But now, let's take a look at some slang that is suited for the nightlife. Our next word refers to a type of person that we all know. Mala copa, which means a lightweight. So if you have some buddies who get drunk extremely easy or extremely fast, you can say, creo que la botella no hacía falta. Estos son muy mala copa. I think the bottle wasn't even necessary. These guys are extreme lightweights. By the way, if you're going out with some friends to a bar or a restaurant, make sure to check out our video on how to order food in Spanish. Hey, speaking of bars, that brings us to our next slang word, cantina. That's what a bar is referred to in Mexico. So you might use a sentence like, hoy no tengo ganas de ir a la cantina. Vayan ustedes. Which means, I don't want to go to the bar tonight, you guys can go. And finally, our last word is varos. If you're going out on the town with your friends and you're gonna need money, that's exactly what varos is. This slang term can be used to replace the word pesos because it can actually hold a numerical value, sort of like how we use the word bucks in English. So if you were being a considerate friend, you might say something like, me pagaron esta semana, puedo poner unos cuantos varos más para la pizza. I got paid this week, so I can help with a few more bucks for the pizza. And that's it. Now you know 10 Mexican slang terms that will help you make a good impression on the locals, or at the very least, make a Spanish speaker laugh. Learning foreign slang is not only a fun way to stay in the loop and understand references and conversations that might otherwise fly over your head. It's also a wonderful way to show citizens of the country you're visiting that you care about their unique culture. The best way to commit these terms to memory is to practice saying them in real-life situations. Now don't forget to check out our full guide on Mexican slang with more sample sentences, helpful context, and 38 total slang terms to learn. If you want to practice these slang phrases with a Mexican teacher, why not schedule your first Baselang class today? At baselang.com, you can get access to unlimited one-on-one Spanish classes with Latin American teachers all via Zoom. Try your first week for only $1. Knowing some slang will definitely help you seem like less of a confused tourist. But for some extra help in that department, you'll want to check out our lesson on 5 mistakes most beginner Spanish speakers make. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next lesson.